where are you? You may feel depressed. And what will you do about that? Well, there's nothing to do about it. Because you would have discovered at this point that the depression, when it's there, is the you of the time. And if you try to get out of it by some sort of distraction, you won't really do anything except cover up the dirt with white paint. So if you feel let down, meaningless, somewhat depressed by this whole thing, and you see at the same time you can't do anything about it, what happens? Why, you're simply watching what's happening. You don't know what's going to happen next. And it isn't just watching something that is formally identified as a depressed state, because there's a lot of other things going on too. There's the world around you. There's your breath breathing still, your eyes looking still, your ears hearing still. All that's going on. And you don't know what to make of it anymore. You can't believe anything about it because you know that's all a hoax. So there's nothing left for you to do but watch it. And you have become inwardly rather quiet just because you're worn out. There's nothing to do. And you realize that all escapes lead back to the thing you were running away from. You can take a detour. Detours, but they always get shorter. And you get back to where you started. So, when this sort of defeat of all enterprises and ideals and aspirations occurs, you find yourself naturally, and not in an affected or forced way, in the contemplative state, where you're just watching what goes on. And even if you're automatically thinking about it, because you realize that those thoughts are futile so far as changing anything is concerned, you might as well try to sweep dust on the stairs with bamboo shadows. And so you watch your thoughts as if they were the ticking of a clock, or birds chattering outside the window, or water falling, or a leaky faucet. And they just chatter on. And life does its thing, and you watch. The thoughts, because they're just chatter, begin to go away. And the past has disappeared, because you know it's just memory. The future has disappeared because it hasn't happened. Never does, tomorrow never comes. There is no tomorrow.
It feels as if when you put your foot, your psychic foot, upon what you hope to be firm ground, the ground immediately collapses, and you find yourself freely falling in space. And this is terrifying. You are afloat. You are in the floating world. You are in the relative universe, in which there is nothing to hang on to, because the only thing that might be hangable onto is you. In other words, suddenly, the eternal rock, the firm foundation upon which the saints of the Lord are supposed to build, the rock of ages in which you're supposed to be able to hide yourself, all that has gone. And it seems at first that there is nothing to cling to. And so the sweat can pour from you. Until you say, well, that's really the way it always was. When I was born, I was kicked off the edge of a precipice. And I've been consoling myself all this time by hugging to a big chunk of rock that fell off with me. But you know, there is no security. And if you go with it, you see, and you don't try to fight and to find something to cling to, it's all right. Then you discover that the void that you were so frightened of is the clear light, this thing. That it isn't empty in the ordinary sense of the word at all. But once you let go of your clinging, that's all you let go of. There's no you to let go of, really. All the thing to do is stop clinging, because what that does is bunch you all up. No? Sort of totally paranoid, clinging. What's going to happen to me? Well, come on, loosen up. You can't do anything if your hands are tied up here all the time, holding on to yourself. You never get anywhere. But when you let go, then there's a possibility of doing something. And that you are alone. And therefore you begin to crave, to thirst. You develop an anxiety to survive. Only if you are entirely locked up in the illusion that you're only this, then you begin to be frightened and anxious. And that creates thirst. So if you can get rid of ignorance, and widen your mind out so as to see the other side of the picture, then you can stop craving. That doesn't mean to say you won't enjoy your dinner anymore, and that it won't be nice to make love to girls or anything like that. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that enjoying your dinner and making love and generally enjoying the senses and all the experience, that only becomes an obstacle to you if you cling to that in order to save yourself. But if you don't need to save yourself, you can enjoy life just as much as ever. When we are myopic, that is to say, when we are working and living with a narrow view of what is going on, then we are anxious and depressed or fearful or whatever it may be, because we have lost contact with our full selves. Now, of course, we get into this way of looking at things because for many, many centuries, human beings have specialized in one certain aspect of their total mind activity, let's call it that. We've concentrated on our faculty for conscious attention. And this is, in a way, what might be called the fall of man.